So this whole day came about because Shawn liked a song that I wrote that I recorded recently on my new CD, and it's called Home. And so I'll share that with you, and then we'll talk about that.
Wanna know the place that's always green, and do you wanna see the things we barely see, and do you wanna hear the things we barely hear? Well, I found my way there, and I can take you there. Take you there. Home is the place that never changes. It's the love inside yourself that never changes. Home is the place that never changes. And I found my way home. Do you want to know the way of time and space? And do you need a place that nothing can erase? And do you need to be through eternity? Well, I found my way there. I can take you there. Take you there. Home is the place that never changes. It's the love inside yourself that never changes. Home is the place that never changes. And I found my way home. Oh. Never changes. It's the love inside yourself that never changes. And I found my way home. I found my way home. Very sweet of you. Okay, so let me tell you what I was thinking about when I was writing this song, and it's kind of interesting because at the time I wrote the song, I was, so your outer reflects the inner, right? So at the time I was writing the song, I was reflecting a very different outer, but I was praying for peace. I was praying for a different inner, so that I would have a different outer, but. I didn't really realize that that's what I was doing. So this song was actually a real gift to me, and I wrote it many years ago, and didn't sing it too often until I met my wonderful husband, who I always praise and thank because he's been a wonderful influence on me. But as I began to re-look at the song, I realized some of the things that were there inherently, but I hadn't paid attention to. So I'm going to start with my definition of home, which is, I'm talking about the inner home, which reflects the outer home.
But my definition that I want to talk about today is home being the refuge and the safe place for us, for you. And in that safe place, that is where I am fully engaged in confident, prosperous living. This is my new mission statement for myself. So hopefully it's helpful to you. But that's the place where I find the strength and the confidence to be fully engaged in life rather than, not so much, I'm not so sure, I don't want to, participate, But at this point, I feel like participation is really important because our participation in the world around us helps create the world that we want to see, right? So anyway, that's my definition. The refuge, the safety place that we go to where we find our comfort and where we have the strength and confidence to move into the world in a powerful way. So that home is divided into 4 rooms. And as my wonderful husband so wonderfully pointed out, that there are 4 chambers in the heart. So that's, how funny. I was doing this and I divided it into 4 rooms and he's like, oh, there's 4 chambers in the heart. Well, that's what I'm talking about, the heart, the home place. So I'm going to tell you what these 4 rooms are and then we'll talk about them. The first room is the green room. Yay, see, green's the color today. Last time I was here, I was wearing the red one, and I was at Grand Central, and somebody came up to me and had a little issue with me wearing a monk robe. But today I decided I would wear the green one because we're talking about green. And so what I wanted to say is, why green? Right? What do you think of when you think of green? Anybody?
Right.
Growth.
Money.
What else? Money? Okay, money.
Life.
Life, right? Anything else? Nature, exactly.
St. Patrick's.
St. Patrick's Day. My mom will thank you. Right, well those are the things that I thought about. Green's the color of love. It's actually the heart chakra color, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Green reminds me of balance. It's our natural state of balance. And the color of the heart, grass, restful nature, someplace like that. So one thing that I do, and probably you do too, is when I'm feeling disconnected, is that I go find a green place. I do go to a park or find a tree or somewhere. Even in the wintertime, I like to be where I know it's green. There's always evergreens, there's something. So green for me is a really important color. And I love this piece that I found out that Egyptians wore green eyeliner. So that was really fun for me. I was like, okay, I'm going to start wearing green eyeliner. Okay, so the first room is the green room. Also, we in showbiz, whatever, have a green room before we go on stage, right? So for me, that's the place where I prepare and get ready to move on to stage. So it's a safe place. It's a refuge for me, the green room. And number 2, the second room, is the quiet room. Now the quiet room is something I had to get used to because I'm so used to being loud. But I've really come to appreciate the quiet room where the room is spiritual practice, that place inside where I get up every morning and I do my spiritual practice, whatever it may be. It's different for all of us. We, Glenn and I work with A Course in Miracles and we do some meditation on that. But also I really like to think of the quiet place as the unmanifest, as David talks about, and that place of all possibility. And how can I access that possibility unless I take some time to really be quiet with myself and get in there and let those mists of thoughts that don't really do me that much good, but let those mists clear away and find out what my true heart's desire is. I do that in the quiet place. That's where I access the understanding that everything is possible. Everything. Whether I think it's good or whether I think it's bad, it's all there. And it's possible for me to experience. So let me get myself in a quiet, still place where I align myself with my will. What I've understood is that my will is God's will. What I want to do in my life is God's will for me. And many times I get confused about that, so I have to go back to the quiet room and really listen for that small voice to find out what the next step is. You know, it works for me. So after the quiet room, I want to talk to you about number 3, the superhero room. Yeah?
Yeah.
Does anybody like to watch cartoons? Does anybody like to pretend they're a superhero? I used to love to pretend I was a superhero. But what I found out is that I am, and so are you. We are invulnerable beings. We are superheroes. It is our consciousness that moves through this life. Actually, what I can talk about this particular room for a really long time because it echoes the line in my song, do you want to know the way of time and space? Do you want to see a place that nothing can erase? Do you want to be through eternity? Well, in fact, we do be through eternity because we are eternal beings. So I like to, this comforts me, and I don't know if it comforts you or not, and you can talk to me more about it after if you want, but it comforts me to know that I'm always in the present. I'm not in the future. I'm not in the past. Now listen, I was on the train. I was in the car with Scott when we drove up here. I was in the present then. I'm in the present now. And after service, I'll be over there eating lunch and I'll be in the present. You know, how about that? Isn't that weird? I was in the present in 1956 when I was born, and I was a little tyke. And I'm in the present now in 2013, 2000, yeah. I find that fascinating, and somehow I find it comforting. I don't know if you do or not, but I really do find it comforting that everything that occurs is now. Because to me that means that we're never running out of time. We always have enough time. Do you see what I mean? All this thing about, oh, I'm getting old and I don't have time to do whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not true. There's always time. There's more and more because we're always in the present. It's always here for us to do. I want to read a couple things to you because I thought they were really cool. There's an analogy that I came up with about us being on a train, right? And so the train moves from, one time location to another space and time location, but we're in the train and we get to do whatever we want to in the train. We're just doing whatever we do in the train. But we don't move the train moves itself. So I'm thinking of that as life and the flow, and us being in the train as passengers, that's our experiences that we're having, and we can have as many of those as we want while we're on the train, and we're even beyond the train because it just goes on and on and on. Think about it. Everything you do happens at the now of the moment you're doing it. The now, not the future, not the past. And we spend a lot of time beating ourselves up about what we did in the past and what we're going to do in the future, right? We're worried about it. And I think of those things that we worry about so much as attack thoughts. I think of them as attack thoughts on myself. Because here's the thing. If I'm worried about and complaining about what you're going to do, what you didn't do, what you're supposed to do, and I'm worried about what I didn't do and what you didn't see me do, or what I was supposed to have you see me do, you know what I mean? All these things that we confuse ourselves and clutter our minds with, I'm attacking myself because I'm attacking my invulnerability. A Course in Miracles puts it this way. It says, my attack thoughts attack my invulnerability. And so when you have attack thoughts about another person, it only hurts you. It weakens your belief in your own personal power. And it strengthens your belief in your vulnerability. Now, I've been going through this thing in my life with a particular person who's putting together an organization. And I was on the team putting together that organization, but I had to step down because I just felt like that person wasn't doing it right, And it was right for me to step down, but what I keep doing is complaining about that person and they're not doing it right, right?
Okay, so because I have to be right and I have to complain about somebody else not doing it right. So what I realized this week was that that whole train of thought was really making me weak, you know? And if I'm going to be doing that, then how much are people complaining about me and what I do, okay? You know, it's like, oh, I'm not so sure I want that. So I really had to look at how I was attacking myself by complaining about this other person. And I also thought about how I attack myself by watching scary movies and violence, you know, and how I'm really entertained and thrilled by, like, you know, violence and stuff. And I don't want to admit that about myself, but I mean, you know, I do. I get hooked into it. You know, I want to see what's going on in this particular TV show. And then when I do, it's just like, oh my God, I wish I hadn't seen that. I actually did. There's this show that I love called Medium that I don't know if you guys have seen, but she sees things before they happen, and there was this one thing that they showed at the beginning of the movie, of the TV show, and it was horrible, and I haven't been able to get that out of my mind. So that was 2 weeks ago, and now I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna monitor what I watch, because even at this point where I do my work and everything like that, some seductive violence, you know, comes into my life, and I go right toward it, and I want to look at it, and I want to see it, and I absorb it, and it's hard for me to let it go. So, you know, that was just an example that I thought about myself. Okay, I'm attacking myself that way because I'm weakening myself. I'm not believing in my invulnerability. So, we love to terrorize ourselves with thoughts of panic, right? Oh, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen now? Oh my God, it's going to... So, this is where our spiritual practice comes in. Who was talking about their toolbox? Somebody, just now we're talking about their toolbox. Oh, yes, yeah. Okay. So, just reaching into that toolbox and using it, you know. My favorite thing right now about my toolbox is to go to the quiet place. You know, I can do that during the day. And sometimes I don't even have to excuse myself. I used to go to the bathroom. Hold on, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Got to be quiet. But now I can even do it in the midst of what's going on, because the place is always there. The home, the refuge, the safety, it's always there. And I can access it just with a moment of... Love created me like itself. Reset button, you know? I'm back on track. So whatever your tools are, whatever you use to help yourself along the path, remember to use them when you're panicking yourself. And if you want some suggestions, you know, talk to me after, because all of us, we have a whole bunch of tools for the toolbox. So the point is, though, that you are invulnerable, and you can make a choice. You can live in that invulnerability, or you can live in the vulnerable place, you know. But this moves us into the love room, the final and fourth room of our hearts, the love room. That's the God room, because God is love. And what does that mean? God allows us to be who we are, to be what we are, and to exist as we are. One thing I began to realize this week too is that when I talk to people about love, a lot of times what I get is, God can't love me, I'm a failure. I've done all these horrible things in my life, you know, or I'll never find a partner because I've done all these horrible things in my life, and I'm a failure. I haven't become a success in business or whatever it is that I'm supposed to do by the age that I'm supposed to do it, you know. And my friend Diane sent me an email this week, and I thought it was so beautiful, and I wanted to share this with you, because to me this is one of the most beautiful examples of love. It says, failure is the faithful companion of the sage. No other mentor is as wise or true. But this companionship is a difficult one and requires great attention and skill. That's where you use your tools. The lessons must be learned without rancor or depression, without bitterness or blame of others.
Mistakes must not be hidden or repressed, but welcomed as beloved friends. Oh my God. Welcome your mistakes as beloved friends. Oh my goodness. Arrogant and fearful people glory in their achievements. Oh, well, I guess the wise and content cherish their mistakes. How about that? The ability to review our lives without regret or shame is the reward of the courageous who accept each failure as a stepping stone to wisdom. When you can review the hidden portions of your life with peace and acceptance, you will be a sage. Wow, I like that. I like that. That helps me look at things that I haven't been so good at in my life in a different way. And I also want to read you something else because my husband posted this on his Facebook wall, and it kind of goes along with what we're talking about as love being acceptance. And he said, those who love you are not fooled by mistakes you have made or dark images you have about yourself. They remember your beauty when you feel ugly, your wholeness when you are broken, your innocence when you feel guilty, and your purpose when you are confused. That's what God does. That's what we do for each other in community. Oh my God. You know, that's why this community is so valuable to each and every one of us, myself included, because we can make mistakes, you know. We do make mistakes, but we support each other and we love each other and we work through them and we're not misled by each other's mistakes. How about that? I want to leave you with this last little thought about love because it kind of brings it all back together. But can you dare to believe that God loves you at least as much as your dog does? I just think that's the greatest thing ever. Your dog is always happy to see you. Your dog is always there for you and never judges you. Oh, thank you, God. And I think that's really fun to think about. Can you dare to think that God loves you as much as your dog loves you? Can you dare to love yourself at least as much as your dog loves you? And with that, let's bring the message to a close. Thank you very much.